Hello and welcome to another VOD review on the Virkayu gameplay channel. And in this one, we have a Lee Sin versus a Graves. Now, if you, like me, are sick of watching Graves, yeah, it turns out that Nerf did a lot to his win rate, but you're still gonna see him in high elo. When he has lane prior, it's still gonna be disgusting. And as you can see, the famous world's final MVP, Canyon, is piloting this particular cigar-touting jungler. Now, our Lee Sin is the one we'll be following. I'm not sure if I'm saying it correctly, but GG from EDG Gaming. So we have two pro junglers against each other. And I read on Reddit that people don't like it when they're one-sided stomps and unrealistic scenarios. Now, I try to cover as many unrealistic scenarios as I can so that, you know, some of them are realistic. In this case, you're going to have two junglers battling each other, and the Lee Sin struggling to handle the lane prior that Canyon has, as he always seemingly does, in addition to actually also letting the game flow come to him, understanding when to go for things, when to rotate, when to make plays, when to give things up, really controlling and sticking to the tempo of the game. You will see runes on your screen now. He's going for an electrocute style rune set. The reason for this being, you get to go lethality. And when you get to go lethality, you have much more innate burst in your kit. Now, let's just assess the game state quickly before we get too far into the first clear. Runes should be pretty self-explanatory. Items you see on the thumbnail, because I gotta draw you in with something special every time. Otherwise, no one clicks it. Ward here at 1 minute covers you in case Graves does some cheeky nonsense. Now, this is the thing about this ward. Most people will just slap it onto the red buff. And if you don't click on it, you won't see what's going on. This ward is way better because it's at the top side of the bush, meaning straight up, you see all of this here. Now, the only way Graves avoids that is if he goes through the top of the pit and closely sticks to the wall. Alright? That's what you're looking for. You're looking for the level 2 cheese invade. Most likely, if he doesn't do that, he started on the red side, solo stud, and he's going to sequence up. So what the Lee Sin does here is very... how to put this? It's what you should all be doing when you don't have lane prio. And watch it. It requires restraint and intelligence. So this is important. This ward here, alright, lets you see straight up that the raptors are gone. Alright, as you see the pings coming through here. So you've got a red into raptors clear going up most likely, especially if they're gone already. Very low very low probability that a Graves does red raptors Krugs. In fact, given that Lee Sin was leashed, literally zero possibility. So he's most likely now gone up top side. Lee Sin knows this. So what he does is as follows. He's done his blue side, quickly steps down his raptors, has a security of that ward, okay, that just now died. Which means up until this moment, Graves is not invaded, as far as we know. Nothing around the sides either. However, watch very carefully. Finish off the red buff, dun 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 dun, sits in the bush in case of any shenanigans. Let's assess the map. Prio top lane. Nah. Cannon will hit 3 by the time you get there, but Jace has control. Prio mid lane. They did, but Orianna is creating Prio for the Graves. Graves, red, raptors to top side. We know this at this point thanks to the good ward by the Victor. In turn, compromises himself, and now will be pushed back. Okay, this is good because you also don't want to be ganked by the Graves. Hate that champion. Bottom lane, also no Prio. So, as a jungler who likes to have pressure early, you're probably thinking, yeah, ganks. But if you don't beat the enemy jungler 1v1, if you're afraid that you're in a higher elo or there's duo queues against you, that if you go for the fight, the laners will rotate, you cannot even afford to waste time checking. You know where he is, thanks to the ward. You know where he most likely is, thanks to the fact that he didn't invade you earlier. Let's simply go back down. Just leave, don't he? He doesn't even bother wasting time. You know where Canyon is, 100%. Here. And he even went to ward to check in case. So, this is great read, great game flow recognition by the Lee Sin. You have top lane, I have no prio. I'm going to head directly down to the bottom crab so you cannot double crab me. Because the Orianna is basically priming it to give Graves the opportunity to either dive this, Cannon isn't low enough, to counter jungle the Krugs, no point, they're tier 1. So now all he can do is run across and double crab, right? Canyon has all the choices available to him. If the Lee Sin, our protagonist, had started on the red side, right, you would have seen the same thing except the Lee Sin would simply be in the same exact position he is now, and Canyon at 4 minutes could steal the Krugs. So this is something that's avoided by starting on the blue side. Takes the crab here. It's worth noting that bottom lane is most likely warded given that we're pushing, given that you know that the Lee Sin didn't show top side. So that's good laning by the bottom side. Great laning by Orianna. Canyon should use a Fog of War to sneak behind, which he did as expected. And just in case you missed it, I just rewound a few seconds because this ward by the Victor gave so much value for the tracking, for the game flow. It also did this. So now you know where he is. So Lisa knows, okay, I better smite this to secure it and get out. All right? It also means if you go for this gank, you'll be counter ganked. Risky. Risky. You know, it's a Gragas, it's a Kai'Sa. There's a wave. The Canyon is in the area. You don't even call him Graves, just call it Canyon Champion. So he decides to detach. Now the thing is, because he walked on that ward, which is I guess the mistake, you could just recall here. If he recalls, it's going to affect, if he recalled immediately without even trying to go for the gank, it would affect the next play. Because what Graves does, what Canyon does is say, okay, you know, I did this in Worlds literally every game. I had lane prio. I know that this is going to spawn smack bang on target at 4 minutes. How did he know that, in case you are not a tracker savant? Well, when you see the Lee Sin here with 24 CS, it's pretty obvious that he did, it's pretty obvious that he did this and then looped back down to take it. Because if you click on him in game, as I said in the last few VODs, you can see the timer on the buffs. It will tell you which one they did first. So, Canyon decides, well, Graves, Lee Sin showed himself, I'm gonna take tier 2 Gromp. Lee Sin says, that is sad. Now, you see the baby frog crying that it has been destroyed. If the Lee Sin had gone back immediately, it's difficult to say on point, but he might have been in the area to either steal it away or force a fight onto the grave. So the waste of time here was a bit unfortunate. Nonetheless, what do we do now? Because this, for me, is what differentiates good junglers from bad junglers. What do you do in this exact situation? This will be spawning. They are fighting. And this is a recognition that the Lee Sin has about the game flow, the game state, the tempo, that Canyon missed. Canyon was so concerned about going about his camps, he missed this engage. So now he's late to this. The Lee Sin, on the other hand, just immediately said, my Gromp's gone, here I come, let's go. And Kai'Sa is now detached, which means Q can hit. He flashes, just anticipating the fact that the Kai'Sa would flash. She didn't have to, but you'd rather flash first and get the kill than risk losing it. They also managed to kill the Gragas. So now Canyon is going to stay out and do most likely tier 2 Krugs, tier 1 Krugs and tier 2 Raptors. Lee Sin, maximum mobility, Q of the wall, hit your wolves. Now we need to sequence up. Canyon holds bottom wave instead of going directly to his Raptors. So again, confirmation of where he is. You will be ahead in levels. You cannot contest him without the lane, without any sort of laner assistance, so you have to play intelligently. Ping's coming. Look at this. Look at this ping on the map. You see it? You see that? Good jungle tracking by Kenny. Knows exactly what's going on. Also has the benefit of seeing this movement. Okay? Great vision. Whenever you counter jungle, leave those wards behind. That's why it's not always... I understand why people like the scanner for the ganking and so on, and it would have helped the Lee Sin know that he was seen earlier, but Lee Sin needs those trinkets more than other junglers for obvious reasons. Canyon, on the other hand, didn't need the wards, but it gave him so much vision. More so than the ganking, because he's not looking to necessarily gank because he has winning lanes and lane control. He's just looking to track our Lee Sin as much as possible. So, at this point, as much as I have followed Canyon and solo queue over the years and used them in a lot of the videos, the extended sequences idea being from him, it's unlikely he would Krugs, hold bot, Raptors, and then go back up again, because that's just too much gold. He can reset now. He gets the Noon Quiver, the huge item spike, and you see the tracking pings coming down from the Lee Sin. He will be there. Please, Kennen, pay attention, tiny hamster man. I know in your game's not going to happen, so it doesn't matter even if you're tracking perfectly well. The laners will find themselves in a dire situation. Lee Sin, on the other hand, knows this. because of the distorted timings between him and the Graves now, he has priority on impacting the bottom side of the map, especially if Graves actually shows top lane. There we go. That was a lot of flashes. That was a lot of flashes. It astounds me how this always works. Bottom lane gank wasn't there. It was a lot of vision control, but you get the RNG crab, which is nice. If the crab goes the other way, you don't get it. However, because the red buff just spawned as Canyon showed top lane, you can go for this red steal. Now, the thing about this is, because of Lee Sin sequencing up, your camps are down. He can't counter jungle you, which is great. All you're looking for here is bottom lane. Be careful of mid lane and get ready to get out. The set, on the other hand, has gone for bush control, I hope. There we go. And now we can go for a transitive gank to the bottom lane. Their bottom lane is Heads Up Gaming, Challenger career, what do you expect? Nice bit of counter jungling. Let's flow back on up to our blue side. We want level 6 now. Alright? Canyon should, in theory, be resetting bottom side, but we don't have any visual confirmation. And in your games, your plat games, your diamond games, who knows what they decide to do. So as I said, Canyon should be bottom side. He is bottom side. He knows it's control warded in that bush, and now it's control warded to the right side, which means it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Look at this. Oh, he cut it at the end. He cut it at the end. Okay, we see you now, Canyon. But it was so good. It was so good. And the part thing is just direct habit. Even if you don't know this is warded, that's just so nice. Because he got all the way up until here without being seen. Now, unfortunately, he was going for the gank, right? Bottom lane already has turbo engaged using their level 6 power spike that was granted because of the Lee Sin's earlier, quicker reactions than the Graves. Instead, cuts off Canyon. Electrocute, R, boom. Clean. And that's why Electrocute is so strong. But he's got the Serrated Dirk as well. He had the ultimate up. That's how you use it. But now you have got to be careful here, because we have Jace coming through with a TP, so don't overcommit. Alright, your laner doesn't have TP whatsoever. Which means you also can't go for the dragon, because if you go for this, you'll be collapsed on. Graves is up in 7 seconds. You're not going to be able to take it quickly enough. You'll have a bad fight. Again, over the wall, take your Raptor camp. Now, we can repeat gank bottom lane, which I think is something you should think about in elos where top laners are not TPing into your bottom ganks. So if you have top laners that are just island gaming and complaining that top lane has no impact, you could look to use vision control to repeat gank this and take the dragon. The thing is, because you know the Graves was down here last with red buff, he's gonna be up and he'll take all of these from you. So you have to weigh the pros and cons of giving up some of your top side. In Challenger though, a bit more reserved because everyone knows what they're doing. Pings again. Vision control, none. We just know. Like, you can see there's no vision control, there's just great pings from Canyon. His tracking is so good. And while he's doing that, because you know where he is as Canyon, you can actually sneak around any sort of vision control and just gank the victor here. He's really low, he's overstaying, so my thing here would be the following. Okay, that's a great gank, well done by blue team. The thing here from the Lee Sin's perspective is you should see this, alright? And the fact that you have a red buff means you don't need to think about taking a red buff just yet, alright? In fact, I could even see you leaving the Raptors just for a second. Leave the Raptors and immediately hit this, because you know Canyon was down here, and you know he was going to path upside. And if he was looking to make a lane impact, you'd want to hit this to see him. And if he had ignored the Raptors and just hit this down, right, you could easily maybe safeguard and try and absorb this gank, counter gank it in some kind of way. The only issue is resource balance is not in your favor. You don't have ult. Victor doesn't have ult, whereas they both have ults up. So in this case, at the very least, you could help detach. You're not looking to fight, you could just help detach and keep him alive. This is obviously benefit of hindsight, but as a challenger jungler, it's something he should also be thinking about. Nevertheless, good game by Canyon. There's a dead Victor. I mean, he was going to the red. He wasn't even thinking about it, which means for me, it's just something he missed, which happens. give prior on the Herald there. So you're gonna have to lose the Herald. So that's a bit of game tempo and flow we missed from our jungle position, but nonetheless, it happened. And what has happened has happened. Nothing you can do about it. Control ward there to stop the dive. Very good. He's most likely doing... Oh, he did do Herald, sorry. I'm going faster than... the game is going faster than I'm speaking. So, he already took Herald here. You're concerned about a 2-man dive with the Herald. So you hang around the area just a little bit. Look, look. Does smoke screen come through? Onto the crab. Oh man, you imagine sneaking that? Imagine if you threw out a Q and stole that. So this is well played by the Lee Sin. I like this a lot. I like this read. This is very good. He's got no flash now because they just used the flash on the previous gank. I like that a lot. Really good. He took the Herald. He took the crab, which we saw. You hung around just in case there was a dive. There wasn't. So capitalize on the position. Now in this case, what he's doing is he's anticipating that Canyon might even try and but punish the overcommitting lane. So just hang around a bit. And this is something that we've talked about for low elo games. What should you do? What's the right play? And what's the play that's happening? And you have to balance out, like in theory, I could go back to base and the top laner should be careful. But he wants to shove this. It's a cannon wave, you know? So you could either help him or wait and bait. He even just uses the ult just to get it, you see? So he waited to bait. Nothing happened. No problem. It's a few seconds off your back. Your laner survives. Canyon will be going down to the bottom side. Great wards again by the Victor. Now he can afford to push because we know where Canyon's going to be. We have a ward on his camps. And bottom lane is once again skirmishing. So the Lee Sin says, right, I need to do something about that. But now he's watching. He's going to play it a little bit safe, actually. Let me do... See? Realistic. Always find your realistic things. Your mid laner will overpush and then die. Yes. I'd be very concerned about a bottom lane gank from the Graves here. In fact, it should be something you're thinking about. Ah, there we go. Orianna, mid lane gap. The power of magic. Yeah, nothing you can do about that. I mean, you can try to get something, but... Nope. Nope. But... Your mid lane is TP'd in. There's nothing that can happen from the top side. Both top laners are out of this. Yeah, you don't have a support. They want a dragon now. So the one thing you can look to do is punish the jungler, maybe kill the jungler if he overcommits somewhere, and then what happens is you stop the dragon, which is exactly what happens here. I don't know why they are pushing this. Whew. That's overcommitment from the blue team. But again, let it come to you. Shadow, wait, bait. If they overcommit, use the fact that you've got Eclipse plus Electrocute. Very nicely done. And that gives you Dragon now. So it's a great turn. Read by Canyon. Capitalized by the Lee Sin. Letting the game come to him. Understanding when to push, when to give up. Gets a Dragon. You could Crab. But why Crab when we can just steal the blue? But, before I fast forward too far. Jungler's up. Mid lane is here. Sets there. ADC's in base. This isn't the play now. You're gonna die. I mean, you get a kill. Wait a second. Wait a second. Okay, yeah. You die. So the 1-for-1 trade there, I don't think that's worth. Actually, let me hide this because it's been open the whole time. I don't think that's worth whatsoever. Careful here. Victor's a champion. There we go. So is Graves though. Graves is definitely a nicely fun, engaging champion. Right. Samira's up, sets up. Canyon says, right, let me push this. I have Herald. It's 13 minutes. I'm not going to get a better opportunity. Might as well maximize the plates for myself. Lee Sin says I better cover this to deny as much as possible. Holds the way for the Victor. And now decides to go on a little adventure. Let's observe. It's about this time that an EU West Graves would just leave the game. Hey, it's a great read. Great reads. He knew that he was gonna do this and go down to his red, so just walked on in and said thank you. Bottom lane is fighting. Graves will be here. Orianna, no attention paid. Reacts immediately. Kills. It's good. Very nice. Ignored the blue side, just like the Kindred game. Just like the Kindred game. The drive to finish the crab and fall to your blue side as a safety, as a cautious way of playing, isn't going to get you the wins. Watching the Graves and killing him and then getting the dragon, and then maybe looking to probe here if you have the numbers, these are aggressive plays. These are plays that let you, as a carnival-style jungler, really take hold and sort of dictate the tempo. As I said, Graves is bottom lane, so this, as Lee Sin decided to go... I'm excited for the future champions to all have some kind of win wall, and basically Ornn is rendered useless. Double snatch, hold bottom lane, get 11. Reset because we have 1,200 gold. That's going to give us a serrated dirk as well as a pickaxe. He didn't upgrade his boots, so he went for the pickaxe. Now, the reason why you don't do this is because he reached the atomization spike he wanted, and he wanted a reset to make sure he was in contention for the top lane second herald that's going to spawn. The thing is, you have to be very careful here. Okay? Again, he's defaulting to farming. I think... Well, he's not farming, he's just taking a camp quickly. Okay, and Victor's hitting the plant, so that's fine. But this is what we need. This plant to be hit so we can see what's going... What's actually happening. Nice. Dished off blue. TP, top laner. All the information we could possibly need. Graves heading down to the wolves. That's why you want to hit that plant. So if your mid laner, and mid laner probably won't, isn't going to hit that, make sure you do before you default back to your camps, just so you can get a lay of the land. Now you can take your red and then slap on down to the herald. Now because that plant was hit, I think this is something that should be anticipated. So you have to be... Hi, Jace. Top laners. The cannon disappeared, made him think that they were on it. There's a fight going on here, Lee Sin. Okay, Orianna ult is used. Safeguarded. Shields. Flash engage. Nice Q. That was nice, Cannon. That was nice. That's not so nice. Body slam, double body slam. Q misses. Gragas should kill him. There you go. Meanwhile... That's fine. So I have no issue with that. That's, you know, the priority here is the Herald. If someone collapses, you kill them before you refocus. If there's another fight, we rotate, we make the outplays, we use our gold lead, as slim as it is, to win that. And now there's another objective on the map in the dragon spawning, and you have a free farming ADC on the bottom side that's going to draw attention. You also have here Victor doing Victor things, scaling. Oh, that Lee Sin is so nice. He just gives that free, look at that, solo kill to the Victor. You could have done anything else just to get an assist. He says, no, you earned it. And I think that's nice. Very, very kind. Not the kind boy we're used to, rest in peace Rush, doing his service at the moment, but cool. Samira pushing bot lane, should draw some kind of pressure. Dragon's going to be respawning. Now she resets, so what we're going to do is do a camp to fill the time, while our laners rejoin. Orianna TP's in again. Set rotates directly to the mid lane. Victor's damage is absolutely disgusting. Lee Sin rotates. And that's the priority you need for the dragon. Just dragon this. That's good. This is similar to the situation we're talking about, that I spoke about recently on my main channel. When you are a Caitlyn, when you are a Karthus, you don't have to save your ult for kills. Use your ult before that dragon, like in that situation. You know, the Victor traded favorably. The set rotated favorably. If you were a Caitlyn or a Karthus, you could just press ults, and now you get the same result. They cannot afford to contest this. So what Canyon has to do is just give it up. He just has to give it up, right? And he's actually down a lot of CS, purely because the Lee Sin has adapted to the game flow a little better, and also held a few waves. So those losing waves do give you some juice if you actually hold them, especially as a jungler. And he wants to snowball, right? Leave the wolves, there's no time for wolves. Ghost Blade, another long sword, not even completing the boots. If your champion is slow though, then complete the boots. My champions are all slow. I don't have 440 movement speed without upgrading the tier 1. Rotate to the fight as it occurs. Let's see what happens here. Oh! And now we get the Herald. So, game flow, ladies and gentlemen. Game tempo. Control it. You know, treat it like the Force. You know, it's that energy field around you that binds you all together in the game. Those who can read it and see it better than everyone else will end up getting way more from the map than the other team. In this case, the Lee Sin is actually winning at that. Kenyon does his best, I guess, to exert his will on it. And, you know, dictate its existence. This Lee Sin just let it flow. And because he pulled off with his Herald, he managed to get kills, a dragon, reset in time, rotate to another fight, and then get the Herald again. Now, I don't know what this is. I don't know what kind of party this is, Gragas, but it ain't it. I mean, you know the Lee Sin's really fed, right? And you know he took the Herald, so why are we over pushing this? Then again, that Gragas damage. Cannon's rotating up. No, okay. Don't waste the Herald there. Okay, very nice. So, let's mid laners. Let's see how the game actually closes out here, because I think we've got a great idea of those first 20 minutes. Now it's basically down to, if you don't use the lead you have as Lee Sin in this case, you will lose. So we'll probably farm and chill for a bit. Look to make a pick. Make sure we have a Victor available. He TP's mid lane. Orianna's over pushing on the top side, as is the way apparently. So it's devolving. It's becoming a bit messy. It's becoming a bit messy here. I mean, you could Baron, but... there you go. So it's becoming a bit messy. In this case, just do what you can, yeah? Don't overcommit, though. Nice. Don't overcommit. Okay. We can shove this and get a mid lane tower. We've got a wave a little bit. We've got Herald as well. They're a couple down, detached, pushed away. They're forced to B. You can probably get another charge on the inhib tower. No, never mind. That was too ambitious of me. Next dragon is spawning. So here you have a couple options for you macro-wise. You can beta fight if you guys are definitely far ahead. In this case, 4k gold's quite substantial. For this elo, at the same time, you have to consider scalings. Victor late game is disgusting. So Victor with a lead at all with his team is always gonna be strong. She ulted herself. That's good. But yeah, my point was you either need to reset and look to make a pick, or you can trap and bait them in to just kill them anyway. And if you do that, most likely you are really far ahead and you will win the game. Haha! The Flash W. I mean, do you see the Lee Sin though? That whole fight, you see him just coasting on the back line? Boom, ace. Alright. This is Korea, so I think that's game. I think that's game. I talked a lot about macro and closing out in the other video with the Elise, you know, pressuring the map and what have you. Falling back to the dragon there is perfect. Reset. My bad. And if they sort of go for this fight here in the Baron, just collapse and kill them. That pretty much should do it. I mean, you can see from the game here, the red team's gonna absolutely ruffle stomp it. I don't feel like watching the blue team tilt into oblivion and get outscaled by the Victor. So, yeah, that's a Baron for them. Very much so, you can see here, and then basically we just close out. So I'll let that play while I summarize. Obviously, make any picks if they overpush. There you go. Good. I hope you can understand the need to give up crabs, to track the enemy jungler. To say, look, I have no lane prio, there's nothing I can do. Don't force things that are not there. Because if you do, you will die, you will feed, and you just give the Graves everything he wants in this life. If you back off, you might lose a tier 2 Grump. Recognize the fight in the bottom lane. Rotate to it before the enemy jungler does. Get that kill, get the priority, and now you can use that as an extension of timing, you know, because you went to the red side before Graves, reset, head to the bottom lane, and that gives you all the power in the world for dragons and so on. So yeah, Lee Sin just did an excellent job, and hopefully that makes sense in the subject of game flow and letting the game come to you and making the right decisions around that. Don't forget to please like, share, and comment if you did enjoy this channel as well as the main channel. We should have another 2 videos coming up this week. Another 2 videos coming up this week on both channels, actually. Lots of content. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, I will see you all in the next tutorial.